Start with Alia sharing a few experiences about how she just works.
Thank you very much and good evening to everybody. It's such a pleasure to be in this bustling city. I don't know how you keep up with the pace, but it certainly gets to you after a while, and it's a beautiful pace and a beautiful city. I just wanted to say I came here from Bahrain in the Middle East, and it's such a pleasure to launch the book in India. Now, the funny thing is that I never actually wanted to be a nutritionist, and I in fact didn't even know what the field was. But I have a background in marketing and public relations, and somehow life drove me into this. I actually got sick at some point in my life, and I was tired of hearing all the doctors telling me there's nothing wrong, and I went back home and I still had the symptoms. So I decided to do my own research, and I started Googling nutrition and alternative health. And a few months later and a few years later, I started to feel better and better. And there was a point in my life where I had to make the decision to decide whether to continue in public relations and marketing, or to change careers completely and go into nutrition and start helping others the way it helped me. And it was a very difficult decision, but I actually had to start from scratch. And I re-qualified in nutrition and health, and I started my nutrition consultancy in Bahrain as a very small at-home business, and then it grew from there. So when I had my qualification, I felt like I can heal the world. I thought it's easy, you know, you have these handouts and books and sheets and everything, and you can do it. And I had a very nice template prepared for mothers. And you know, step A, B, C, they follow the steps, their children get healthy. And then I had children. And I realized none of it applies, because it's one thing to read the theory, and it's completely different to actually have children and to make them want to eat the healthy food, and to make the whole process fun, and to give them health in a healthy way, where the mother stays sane and the children stay healthy. So I had to reinvent that completely, and my children became the guinea pigs at home, where I was trying healthy food, but I did realize I'm not just the nutritionist and the mother. I was also the marketing agent of that food at home, because I was marketing it left, right, and center to make it look interesting, to make it sound interesting, to make them want to eat it. So year after year, month after month, after speaking to all these parents, I put together these little notes. And this is the collection that eventually became the book. So this came actually after a lot of tried and tested methods. They do work. And I put them initially in English, and it's published a few years ago in the Middle East. And then it was translated into Arabic. There's also an Arabic version. And today you see the Indian version, luckily. And I hope that this can bring that to you, at least to make your life easier. So it's great for parents. It's great also for teachers, for caretakers, and also for the kids. Some older kids, I found, started reading the book themselves. If they can read, when they start reading, or you can show them where it says that this is the best advice, and they can start implementing it. So my intention is to approach the decision makers. So we want the parents, and we want the teachers, and we want the school managements to start taking action. I'll give you an example. One of the fathers came to me once, and he entered my office and he was very frustrated. He said, my 3-year-old, he'll only eat junk food. He'll have a fit and a tantrum until I give him junk food. Every night. So I asked him, so he can afford the junk food? He said, no, I pay for it. And I said, oh, then surely he drives himself to the junk food place and takes himself there and buys it. He said, no, I take it. So I said, who do you think is to blame here in this situation? So the reality is we have to actually speak to the decision makers, because the children at the end of the day will open the fridge. And it really depends what's in the fridge. They don't really go to the supermarket and buy. And then maybe they'll be in school and they'll look at the options at school, and that's what they will eat. But there's hope, because there's always hope. I was speaking 2 weeks ago for International Health Day at my children's school, and my son was in that class. They told me come and speak for 5 minutes about healthy food. They were all 10-year-olds. And I thought I don't want to do, the food pyramid and the boring stuff that they've already heard before. So I wanted to make it a bit more exciting. I was telling them about superfoods, and I told them to imagine that they were aliens. And I said, imagine you're aliens and your boss and your planet tells you that you have a mission to get superpowers. So would you come to Earth? What would you eat when you come to Earth? Would you eat the humans that are superheroes and geniuses? Or would you eat the tired, lethargic, the boring people? They all said, no, I'd eat Superman, I'd eat Batman, I'd eat so-and-so. And I said, well, imagine you're humans again, and you're on Earth, and you need superpowers, because we all want to get smarter and better looking and stronger. Would you eat the superfoods, or would you eat the food that has been cooked and manufactured to death that has no life whatsoever? And 15 minutes later, after I did my whole speech, they were convinced. I told them about almonds and I told them about dates. I just gave them a few examples. But I thought I'll try something crazy as well. Out of my bag, I took out a jar of mung bean sprouts. I had sprouted the mung beans, and they get a little tail. And they have a lot of nutrient value. So they become a superfood. And when I took the jar to the school, I didn't in my wildest dream think that they would try it. I thought I'll just show it to them. And the junk food generation, they might not. And believe it or not, they all wanted to try it. And by the end of the talk, they were actually taking handfuls and putting them in their pocket for recess. Now these are kids that have never seen it before, they've never smelled it before. Their food is completely different. They were completely open to trying it. And my son tells me that the next day they were all asking him how to make sprouts, and he was very frustrated because he said, oh, just go and Google it. I don't know how to make it. So there was hope. So the children are actually very easy to convince, but it's about how you bring it and how you market it and how you make it interesting. Last year, after a very difficult health situation, I actually ended up in an Ayurvedic center in India. And there I saw this beautiful magazine called Life Positive. And I thought, oh, what an interesting magazine. And then somebody next to me, I was reading the magazine, somebody next to me said, the founder of the magazine is actually here at the same center. Oh, how interesting. So that's how I ended up meeting Mr. Aditya here, and he was the founder and chairman of Life Positive. And this is how the background of how the book started in India, because we were talking about that book. So once again, at that time, I had plans, but God had other plans, and you are all part of that divine plan today. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much, Alia.